Africa's military system, built to survive when the world looks away, was never designed for global approval, media attention, or applause, but for endurance in a reality where help does not always arrive on time, where conflict emerges quietly, and where survival depends more on preparation than promises. Because across vast deserts, dense jungles, remote savannas, and rugged mountains, Africa's armed forces evolved within environments that punish weakness and reward adaptability, shaping a system that values discipline over display and readiness over recognition, where soldiers are trained far from cities and headlines to operate with limited resources, extreme weather, and constant uncertainty. Learning early that survival is not heroic but practical, not loud but controlled, and not instant but earned through patience and repetition. This military system does not rely on constant modernization announcements or ceremonial strength. Instead, it builds capability through familiarity with terrain, cultural understanding of local conflict dynamics, and a philosophy rooted in resilience, where units are structured to function independently if cut off. Commanders are trained to make decisions without waiting for distant approval, and soldiers are conditioned to endure long periods of silence, hardship, and restraint. Because in many regions, the greatest threat is not a visible enemy, but instability itself. History plays a quiet but powerful role in shaping this system, as decades of internal conflicts, border tensions, peacekeeping missions, and asymmetric warfare have taught lessons that are rarely summarized in public doctrines but deeply embedded in training routines, emphasizing control over chaos, discipline under pressure, and unity in isolation, producing forces that may not always match global powers in technology, but often surpass expectations in endurance and adaptability. While the world measures military strength through numbers, budgets, and parades, Africa's military system measures it through survival metrics: how long a unit can operate without resupply, how well it can move unseen through hostile terrain, how effectively it can de-escalate violence or contain it without attracting broader conflict. Because visibility can be a liability when resources are limited and threats are unpredictable. This is why silence becomes strategy, why restraint is considered strength, and why preparation often happens beyond public view as soldiers train in environments that mirror real conditions rather than ideal scenarios, learning to trust coordination over individual heroics and process over impulse, understanding that modern conflict often rewards those who wait, observe, and adapt rather than those who rush to dominate the narrative. Africa's military system is also shaped by necessity, as logistical challenges force innovation, improvisation, and local problem-solving, creating forces that can repair equipment with minimal tools, navigate terrain without digital dependence, and maintain operational effectiveness despite external constraints, reinforcing a mindset where survival is not an emergency response, but a standing condition. When the world looks away, distracted by larger geopolitical theaters, this system continues to train, adjust, and evolve quietly, absorbing lessons from each encounter without seeking validation, because recognition is fleeting but readiness is permanent. And when international attention finally returns, it often discovers a force that is already positioned, already disciplined, and already prepared, having grown stronger in obscurity rather than weaker through neglect. This military system is not built on the assumption of constant support or clear outcomes, but on uncertainty itself, treating unpredictability as a constant variable rather than an exception, and embedding flexibility into command structures, training cycles, and operational planning, allowing forces to respond to both conventional threats and unconventional challenges such as insurgency, border instability, and internal security demands without collapsing under pressure. Ultimately, Africa's military system, built to survive when the world looks away, stands as a reminder that true military power is not always announced or admired, but often forged quietly in conditions where failure carries immediate consequences, where survival is the baseline expectation, and where strength is defined not by how loudly it is displayed, but by how consistently it endures, adapts, and remains ready long after global attention has shifted elsewhere.